In Lakesh. In Lakesh means I am another yourself. And the reason why I'm greeting you that way is because I want to give honor to my ancestors, the ones raised right here in this continent, and that would be the Olmec, as they're called. Nobody knows their real name, but I just want to use the name that we've become familiar with, and the children of the Olmec, the Maya, maintaining the legacy, the culture, the science, and the spirituality of our ancestors. So I say in Lakesh, and the response is Alakim. And the times that we're in are very, very different. I don't know how else to put it. They're different. A lot of different things are happening. I don't need to spell that out to you. I just want people to realize that the most important and valuable asset that we have is our family. And it's a funny thing. As we come into the new cycle, close out the old cycle being that of the male-dominated patriarchal hero paradigm, and we move into the more feminine, not meaning just females, but men who have balanced themselves out as far as their male ego, their male dominant, left hemispheric, conquer, destroy, manipulate, challenge. I had gotten to the point where I was deleting a lot of men off my Facebook page because I just couldn't deal with the constant battles and the the male posturing that goes on wherever men gather. And for women, it may seem like it's ridiculous, but I understand that energy, and it's displaced because we're displaced. And that energy is for the purpose of protecting, and that's innate. Biologically, it's inside of you. There's nothing that you can do about it except for learn to manage it and not let it manage and control you. I had to step away from the Polygyny on Facebook movement. Although I was happy with the numbers of women that are starting to come to terms with the realization that a sisterhood is better than a jealous, angry heart and a lonely life. And a lot of times we get to battling men so much that we end up alone. And then we try to tell ourselves that we're okay, but we're really not. And I understand though, because the state of our men is pretty critical. And although it may appear on the outside that they've taken a stand, they need to realize that the stand that they need to take is to balance out their male and their feminine energy, and learn to listen, and not try to control everything, especially the polygyny movement, especially this polygyny movement. We're in a new time. Nothing old is going to work anymore. So calling us concubines and all those other terms that mean less of a woman, and even the concept of having a hierarchy within the sisterhood, all that does is cause division and separation. That's something that conquerors do. They need to divide people. They need to give them positions of hierarchy. Now, I do understand that there are different levels of people's growth. There are different levels of people's growth. However, each person can be appreciated for what they bring to the table. And what I'm trying to say is the concept of polygyny that I talk about probably hasn't been tried very often. It's what I've learned from reading books like An Afrocentric Guide to a Spiritual Union by Ra-Unefer Amen. We Want for Our Sisters What We Want for Ourselves by Patricia Dixon Spear. And coupled with a lot of the other relationship books that I have had the privilege of reading and sharing and absorbing. And, a few empires right here in my day and time that I've had the privilege of witnessing that are successful because there is a sisterhood and it is functioning and they're raising children, they're raising empires, they're raising schools, they're raising restaurants and businesses, and they're self-sustainable. And that is what I would like to address, is our own self-sustainability in these very turbulent times that we have yet to face. And the most valuable resource that we will have will be our families, and the more the merrier. So there's a few polygyny movements that only want a limited amount. And in the concept of the Olmec mind cosmology system, limitlessness is omnipotence, omnipresence, all of the limitlessness that the concept of God has been derived around. And if we're gods and goddess and we're made in the likeness of God, then that's what we are. We're limitless. I think that the challenge that we're having is that although a lot of the women are waking up to this concept and to this reality, a lot of the men are very resistant to let it go. They still want to control it. And in their minds, they think they need to manage it. And they've even got some women convinced that the women need to be controlled. And personally, that's not what I'm talking about. And true enough, maybe it's never been tried before. I don't know. But I think it's worth a try, because in actuality, if the men really think about it, if they really stop talking long enough to recognize the fact that this would benefit you. I mean, because in a lot of the places in the world, polygyny has been outlawed. Gradually it's growing, even though monogamy is still the smallest percentage of relationships on this planet. And understanding that we're a global people now. There's no regulating us to a particular continent, because we have evidence that we've been all over this planet. We didn't just arrive when slave ships arrived. We've been here from the very beginning. We're the oldest people on this planet, and we have some roots in the universe. So the limitlessness that I'm talking about is the possibilities to come. And it's been written. It's a prophecy. It's the feminine energy is rising, and I want to encourage it to continue to rise with balance and love and harmony, and all the different ways that have been made available to us for us to recognize that about ourselves, men and women. And I strongly urge the men to allow the women to choose their wives, choose their co-wives, to manage the household, manage the sister wives. And this is not about entertaining one another. This is about combining skills and resources so that we will have a presence in this new world that's upon us, so that we do not face extinction, because that's not what's been written. So since it's not written, that's not going to happen. And the reason why it's not going to happen is because the women are not going to let it happen. And so I urge the gentlemen to allow, release, and let go, and allow. And that doesn't mean that you don't count, but you've had a lot to say. You've had a lot to say for a long, long time. We've sat back and we watched you run things. And this is what we have as a result of you running things. And I think that your focus can be placed a lot in your energy in a lot more places than trying to figure out how polygyny is going to work. Just be you. Just be who you are. And the women and the resources will migrate towards you. Instead of you being electric, focus on being magnetic. And that is a feminine energy, to attract to you what you require for the fulfillment of your purpose. And the people that come, they'll be fulfilling their purpose. So it's not about one sacrificing themselves for the other. It's about combining. It's about the circle of love that continues. And there's a lot of talk about unconditional love. And true enough, one should love limitlessly, which means unconditionally. However, in order for you to be able to continue to love unconditionally, love must be returned to you. And that's why a polygynous environment is so crucial. Because a lot of times people find that in a monogamous situation, there's not enough love to go around. And although you might be giving your love unconditionally, the receiver of your love could be giving it to someone else and not you outside of your home. And if it were a polygynous family, then it would be okay. Because if you're giving him love and he's giving another one in your circle love, then that love is going to come back to you. However, if he's giving that love to someone outside of the circle, and outside of the circle by their own choice, or if he still has a need to have escapism, someplace to go that he doesn't have to be accountable for, then he's not ready for polygyny. He's not ready. And by the same token, if a woman still has a desire to be the secret liaison, or to pull him away from his circle of power, circle of life, circle of energy, she's not a good choice for polygyny either. So the proper mate selection is very crucial. And it's not based on how physically attracted you are to someone. It's not based on how good the sex is. It should be purely about the combination and the combining of purposes, the longevity and the evolution of our DNA. Because I think we've gotten about as close to the gutter as we can get. So we want to rise up out of that like the phoenix. And we want to see our true manifestation. I want to see it in my lifetime. So I'm asking, I'm pleading, I'm urging the sisters to step up and the brothers to step aside of us. We don't need you to walk in front of us. We want you to walk beside us. Can we lead together?